Um, Hello, viewers around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you may be on the planet Earth. My name is Tosin Kolaole, and I'm pleased to be with you today and to welcome you to sharing climate stories with Tosin. It's a platform where we invite people around the world, not just climate activists, but people around the world who are living or experiencing the impact of climate change in their communities, scattered around the world, to share what are some of the human angle stories and the experiences they face, when they experience impacts that are caused by extreme weather conditions. Just as there are over 7 billion people on the earth, and we all live in different geographic location, the impact we experience that is caused by climate change differs. I mean, people see climate change in different ways. For some, it's extreme weather conditions that's been exacerbated by climate change, which is caused, widespread flooding, excessive rainfall, and in some part of the world it's just drought. There's no rainfall, and some places it's extreme heat, and in some contexts too, it is extreme cold. And people would often attribute and share that some of those things were not what they used to before. I mean, the climate has changed, and things seem not to be getting better. And the effect of this is that it has impacted people not just through their health. It has impacted their ways of life. It has impacted their economy, their source of income. It's created widespread impact that are on sometimes unimaginable and undeniable. So on this platform, we invite people to share with us how is it in their context, are they expressing climate change, and so today we have joining us from Malawi, Charles Bakolo, who is a climate and environmental activist and has a lot of field experiences in project management, monitoring, and evaluation, and also wide range of experiences in international working with international organizations such as USAID, DAI, VSO, and UNICEF. And it's not just someone that's been impacted and concerned about climate change, but it's also someone you can call a climate activist who has gone beyond being concerned to doing something, leading a change in his community. But before we invite Charles to join us today, let's just have this brief introduction. Okay, welcome back, viewers. So Charles, tell us, when we talk about climate change and talk about climate change in Malawi, what's the experience like in Malawi?
Um, Thank you so much, Tosin, for having me in this program. Um, Basically, climate change in Malawi is very devastating, if I may use that word. Um, there is one woman whom I quoted when I was doing field work in one of Malawi, who said rainfall behavior has changed so much. Our crops never used to wither. We are very little. From idea, we are indeed in a climate crisis in the country. And we are not receiving the rains as we used to receive the past years. People are not harvesting as they used to harvest in the past. There are so many issues or impacts that have uh, been brought by climate change. We have people have died due to flooding in the country. In a nutshell, we are experiencing devastating impacts due to climate change in the country.
Okay, okay. I heard Charles. Hello, Charles. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Sorry, you were paused at the time. So can you
Tosin,
continue?
can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, I
Continue.
can
I
hear
can hear
you.
you. Yeah.
So, so, so what I was saying is that climate change has caused so many impacts flooding, which has left a lot of people homeless, and people have died communities. And I was quoting one of the ladies who said rainfall behavior has changed, which is really true. As we used to do in the past years. It is through these impacts that motivated me to take action to work with the church and the young people across the country to make sure that this is reversed.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And so how in your experience, how has this changes? How has it impacted on food security? How has it created hunger in among the people?
So, in our community, in the past 15 years, people enough for the household, but now it's a story of the past. They no longer have food throughout the year. They harvest very little because of the rainfall pattern, which has changed drastically. We are no longer receiving the rains as we receive. This has impacted so much on our farming practices, because now people are not harvesting as they used to harvest in the past. There is widespread of hunger in our communities, and this as a result of crime which we are experiencing.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. But so for you personally, at what point, growing up and now, at what point did you notice around you that we you were expressing some change that are unusual, that could be likened to or that's caused by climate change? At what point did you realize that climate change or the climate in your community was changing beyond the way it used to be?
Um, that was in 2002 when
Mm,
we were living in a rural community. While we're there, I saw that there was change in temperature. Like in June, we never have temperatures below 6 degrees Celsius, but now we have temperatures below 5 degrees Celsius, and extreme temperatures of up to 9 degrees. To me, I feel the temperature, and it's really happening in the country. And there was also a point whereby in 2015, in 2015, we received so much rains, in the sense that we had flooding across the country, which left people homeless, and people were killed. So climate in our country is changing. Climate in our community is changing, and there was need to take action to reverse this impact. And that is what I opted to do, to make sure that I join forces in the country to reverse this impact caused by climate change.
Wow. So can you describe to us so what did you decide to do? What are the things that you that prompted you? Of course, you said that it started affecting your community, your people around you. So you couldn't pretend it's not happening, and you couldn't you thought that there was something you could do, there's some powers or a change you could make. So can you describe to us what decision did you decide to take at that point in time?
So from that point, what I did was to mobilize the masses, but I thought church would be the best approach because as a human resource, and using the church would be easier for me to propagate the message that I wanted to propagate. So what I was doing was I brought campaigns within the church, and the campaigns that I advocated were in line to reverse the impacts of climate change. Because in most of uh, parts of our country, we don't have trees. So I thought like I can reduce impact of climate change through planting, and we planted trees through such campaigns, whereby I introduced campaigns on one tree, one baptism campaign, whereby when a couple is for baptism, they should plant a tree. When they are raising their child, when they are growing this tree, they should also raise this child of planting trees within our churches. I also brought campaigns like One Tree, One Holy Matrimony campaign, whereby when a couple is coming for officiation of their marriage, they should plant a tree, such that as they are growing in their marriage, they should also take care of the tree that they are planted. And I tell you, it's really working wonders, and it has been populated in all mainland churches in the country. People are doing that, and through that, I've seen massive tree planting exercises across the country, which in the long run will reverse the impacts caused by climate change.
Thank you. By the way, why what was the reason why you thought that maybe tree planting is the way to go, or is one of the ways you can resolve climate change? What made you have that belief?
Okay, because what I've seen is that in most parts of the country, we don't have trees. And that's why I thought like we should engage in massive tree planting, whereby we can reduce runoff. As we are receiving heavy rains, we should reduce the amount of water that is going in our homes through the trees that we plant. And also, if we were to reduce the temperatures we are experiencing now with trees, so that we have an environment which is at least conducive for the masses, such that we have that environment which is conducive to the population, but also to reduce the impacts of flooding which we are experiencing in the country. That is why I chose such a campaign.
Thank you. And so since it started, can you share with us what are some of the successes you've recorded, and what are some of the challenges that has come with this?
The we have recorded so many successes than the challenges, in the sense that now we have churches who have adopted our campaigns, especially the Anglicans, Catholics, Presbyterians, who have now understood the concept and they have integrated it in their liturgy. And if you come to Malawi, you will see that whenever a child is coming for baptism, they are planting a tree. Parents are planting a tree. And whenever a couple is coming for officiation, they are planting a tree. It's the campaign that we introduced to make sure that we have a culture of planting trees within the country. And in the long run, it'll caused by
Hello, Charles. Hello, Charles. Hello, Charles.
Yes, I'm here. Yes,
Yes,
I'm here.
there's a lot of noise in your background. Is it possible? There's a lot of noise in your background.
Yeah. Now I think we can talk.
Okay. Okay. Great. And so you what led to the decision to involve the churches in this? What's the connection between the church and maybe environmental restoration or even tree planting?
Um, like in most churches, like Anglican, we have we call them pillars of the church, and was creation care, and creation care has been embedded in our liturgy. And I thought it was that it was easy for us to engage the church because now we'll be speaking the one of the pillars is within the so reaching the church, it was now there are already masses who follow a particular church, and whenever we are doing an activity in that regard, it was easy to convince them because it is within the biblical perspective, as according to Genesis, whereby God gave us dominion over all creation, and people understood the concept and the massive option of the campaign that we're promoting within the why I thought like using the church was the best idea because even when the priest speaks, people listen, and that is what is happening in our churches.
Great. And so you mean the voices of the priests has huge influence in the community such that um, if they are engaged, they can help to mobilize action towards resolve some of our environmental crisis. Is that what has come from your experience? Hello, Charles. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Charles. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Charles? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes. I said I was asking that you said that
Yes,
it
I
was
can hear
important
you.
to yes,
Can
you said that it was I can hear you. Can you hear me now? Hello, Charles. Can you hear me? Hello, I can't hear you. If you can hear me, I can't hear you. I think Charles network is not responding right now. Charles, can you hear me? You're muted, Charles. You're muted. Um, Hello, Charles. Can you unmute yourself? You're muted right now. Yes. Charles just sent a message to me now that the network it's very poor. The internet is unstable. Hello, Charles. Can you hear me? You're muted. If you can hear me, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself? Okay. That is Charles Bakolo joining us from Malawi. Internet it's a challenge. I understand right now, and so it's been disconnected temporarily. Hello, Charles. Can you hear me? So Charles has actually been sharing with us, what's the situation in of it is like in this context how climate change is affecting his community and also himself or also, and he also shared about some of the feedback he got on the field, how people in the community, it's been almost impossible to deny the realities that things are changing and the climate is not the way it used to be, and that has come with impact that has created even more poverty among people who before now even live at the margin of society. Um, it's very hard now to plant, and there's widespread hunger in the land, which this is, as we know, is made worse by extreme weather conditions, drought in some cases, and sometimes when it rains, they had huge rainfall that creates lots of comes with a lot of runoff because the trees are also being cut down in what large scale. Attitude attitude to the earth and also to the trees sometimes are not friendly, and this has also come with negative impact as properties have been destroyed, homes are destroyed, and so Charles decided to take action by leading a campaign to create effort to restore some of the trees that have been fell down. And in order to do this, he decided to engage the services or the support of the local faith communities church, and his pastors and the leadership decided to embrace that concept of planting trees. And so they had programs around planting trees, and they decided that in order to promote and to imbibe that culture of planting trees, that they should have cultures and events around tree planting. For instance, if it's your birthday, you plant a tree, and if you're getting married, he said that you're encouraged to plant a tree as a couple with your wedding dress. You plant a tree, take a picture, and also be committed to nurturing the tree you planted as a sign of your commitment and an expression of your love, not just to your spouse, but also your love to the environment. And we're sorry we couldn't continue this interview with Charles. He has so much he's doing that I wish that we had a chance to continue to talk. But then that's the situation right now. Internet connectivity is really a challenge in Africa, and especially in Malawi, where the cost of data is on the high side. And so I'm indeed very grateful to Charles for joining us today to share his experience with us. So for folks, for you, I don't know where you're watching me from or what part of the world you are in. While we may doubt the science behind climate change, but the experiences the realities of it are undeniable, especially for people in the global south who unfortunately have contributed very little to the causes of climate change, but then they are left to bear the brunt of the impact of in terms of widespread, extreme weather conditions, drought, you know, rainfall in some cases, it's the impact is as broad as people are, and so these people need help. They need actions on climate change to be taken, and that's why we use this platform to bring them to share their experiences, to describe to us what are some of the human angle stories when we talk about climate change and how it affects people from vulnerable communities around the world. And so to those who have thoughts, Charles. And next week again, we'll be bringing in another individual from different part of the world to share with us what is their climate change stories, how do they experience climate change in their communities, and more importantly, what change are they leading? How are they mobilizing, organize their communities to take action and not just be concerned and not just throwing or burying our heads in the sand, but you know, being part of the change that we want to see in the world, such that we can continue to live in communities and society that are habitable, that can sustain us, and that can also sustain people in the future. The task is up to all of us. There is no point denying it. What we need now is action. So please, I implore you to say go into your community also and be part of the action. Get this conversation going among your friends and among your families. Get help as little or as much as you can to people who need your help, who are being exposed to environmental and climate injustice. We owe it to ourselves as human species. We owe it to ourselves as people who we have loved ones who also are exposed to this impact. And more importantly, we owe it to ourselves as people who want to leave behind a world that is better than the way we met it. So thank you for joining me today. My name is Tosin Kolaole, and this is Sharing Climate Stories with Tosin. And until I come your way again next week with another individual from a different part of the world, I say thank you for joining me and goodbye.